prison for over 23 straight years with no trial, no attorney allowed, and most notably, you've never even been charged with a crime. I introduce you to the world's longest imprisoned journalist, as well as analyzing Chicago's public school state testing results, asking for your help with the tragedy, also remembering those who passed on Marshall University's most notorious, infamous plane crash, and telling you about a zoo who is truly doing God's work. All here on the Bullock today, so let's do it. The mainstream news is so corrupt.
This is unbelievable.
This is wild.
No one is talking about this.
The shootings are just out of control right now.
You don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed.
Meet Dwit Isaak, a journalist who's been falsely imprisoned for over 23 years in a small country you've probably never heard of located in East Africa called Eritrea. Back in 2001, Dwit created a newspaper in the country that demanded democratic reforms. Shortly thereafter, he was arrested and detained along with his group of about 20 other people. Since then, the Eritrean government has provided literally zero information on Dwit's health, his whereabouts, or even if he's still alive. Many of those that have been imprisoned with him are presumed dead. Dwit is also a dual citizen of Sweden and has just been awarded the Eldstam Prize, which is awarded to recipients who have demonstrated exceptional courage in the defense of human rights, in which Dwit's daughter will be accepting the award in the country on her father's behalf. The Swedish government has demanded that they know where Dwit's whereabouts and that he be represented by a lawyer, as Dwit is currently the longest detained journalist in the world. Imagine being held for over 23 years, charged with no crime, and not allowed to contact your family or have a lawyer, a complete violation of everything we know over here in the States. Eritrea is the only country in Africa that does not have a private media outlet, closing off all press under the guise of national security back in 2001. Since Eritrea gained its independence from Ethiopia back in 1993, the president who gained power, President Isaias Afwerki, has been in power ever since for the past 31 years. And for 31 years, surprisingly enough, there hasn't been one election since. This wouldn't surprise me, though, if this did have a Nelson Mandela-style ending here, as being imprisoned for this long and maintaining face value with your beliefs and holding firm could end up like that, if Dwit is truly still alive. Who wouldn't get behind a man like that in the country of 3.7 million people, too? Currently, the U.S. State Department has a Level 2 travel advisory for Eritrea, which reads, exercise increased caution in Eritrea due to travel restrictions, limited consulate assistance, landmines, and then, of course, the wrongful detentions. Also, an interesting piece here I'm taking right from the State Department's website. I'll read for you. U.S. citizens visiting or residing in Eritrea, including dual U.S. Eritrean nationals, have been arrested and detained without charge or on false charges. The department has determined that the risk of wrongful detention of U.S. nationals by the Eritrean government exists. Eritrean law enforcement officials routinely block access by U.S. government officials to U.S. citizens in detention. The U.S. Embassy, therefore, may not receive notification of your arrest or be allowed access to you if you are detained or arrested. There are landmines in many remote areas in Eritrea, particularly in Nakfa, Adiki, Areza, the 25-mile region between Satit and Mereb rivers, and in areas north and west of Karen, areas near Massawa, Ginda, Agordat, Barentu, Dikemner, and south of Tesene. A public warning to be careful for landmines is quite unique. Now over to thumbs up and thumbs down. We head over to New Jersey for a huge thumbs up here.
Thumbs up, average Joes can play.
Now, a thumbs up to the local community here as donations are pouring in to help Molly Mack, a high school student at Whippany Park in New Jersey who was involved in an absolutely awful car accident that has left her with a fractured neck, swelling of her spine, broken ribs, a collapsed lung, and a broken arm. She underwent a very serious and risky spinal fusion surgery and survived it, as she faces a massive road to recovery, as she unfortunately will not be leading her soccer team for her senior year and needs to sit out the entire season, obviously due to her injuries. The medical bills are astounding, to say the least, and are beginning to stack up as her family faces medical costs that are sure well into the millions, considering the extent of her injuries, future surgeries, medication, hospital stays, potential setbacks, and physical therapy sessions that will probably last for years. I have the link listed here, as well as in the description. If you would like to share the link to the GoFundMe page, either share or if you could possibly donate as well if you're interested. Anything goes a long way. If you do donate, please shoot me a DM and let me know so I can personally keep you updated on Molly's condition and progress to ensure that you know your donation has gone to such a great cause and is, in fact, helping Molly out and her family, most importantly, on this almost unlimited longevity of a recovery that she has to go through for this. Just being about a couple weeks north of her 18th birthday. And of course, a very hopeful get well wish for Molly. Now, big old thumbs down as we head over to Chicago here. In Chicago, as state test scores in Illinois have shown that fewer than 1 in 3 students can read at their grade level and less than 1 in 5 students can do math at their grade level. It gets even worse for Chicago's public schools for the 11th graders, where fewer than 1 in 4 students can read at their current grade level. Absenteeism also has played a significant role, as 1 in 4 students have missed 10% or more of the school year, which means 1 in 4 students are missing at least 18 days a year, which is equivalent to over 3 weeks of school. So obviously kids aren't getting or going to be proficient at anything if they're not even in school to begin with. I'm not sure who's to blame here though, as I'm sure the public school teachers are doing their best, probably are very low funded, and facing a very uphill battle with their students having their own battles at home, which is what tends to drive up absenteeism. Now, sometimes we don't know or realize how quickly time has passed, which is why I bring to you this day in history.
Which specifies the unconditional surrender of Japan.
The president has been shot.
This day 53 years ago, maybe one of the worst sports tragedies ever to occur in the United States, happened on a very unfortunate night. A charter jet carrying the majority of the Marshall University football team clips a brush of trees and crashed into a side of hills in West Virginia, killing everyone on board. The victims included 37 football players, the team's coach, its doctors, the university's athletic director, and 25 team boosters who traveled with the team to cheer them on during their game at East Carolina. To give you an insight into just how bad this tragedy was, if you haven't gotten it already, there were so many funerals that they had to be spread out over the course of weeks for everybody to be able to attend them. In perhaps the most depressing moment of the incident, 6 players whose remains were unable to be identified had to be buried together in one funeral at Spring Hill Cemetery, which overlooks the university. There were 9 veteran players who by chance weren't on the plane that night for a variety of different reasons, and they ended up playing the next season. Now, a lot of times covering the news can get nasty, as the previous story you just heard about, very depressing as well. A lot of bad things a lot of times, so bringing you good news every single show here on The Bullock. So good news, here we go. Over to Lansing, Michigan now, as the Potter Park Zoo has claimed a total of more than 15 successful births from endangered species alone within the last 2 years. Possibly the most success stories in conservation from any zoo in the country right now, arguably. The behind the works scenes must be insane to pull this off. A few endangered species they've been able to breed are red pandas, ring-tailed lemurs, otters, and bongos. Red pandas, for example, the zoo's latest breed, they're currently endangered in the wild and native to the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China. Its population has rapidly been decreasing due to habitat destruction, so kudos to the Potter Park Zoo here, bringing their numbers back one by one, as there are less than 10,000 red pandas in the wild left in the world. Now, your daily news podcast, The Bullock, is out Tuesday through Thursday at 5 p.m. I will be back here next Tuesday evening with another Bullock for your world news stories, and I will see you then.
News and factual material are deeply researched to confirming the validity of multiple sources by the broader media landscape across the global sector and the digital world. All statements are a combination of primary and secondary research components geared towards providing the only news show in video and podcast form that provides a clear understanding of important world issues that are being left out by the completely biased and politically driven global media machine. Thank you for listening.